Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru. In Lamaland there's a one-man band and he'll toot his flute for you. Come fly with me, let's take off in the blue. Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied, we'll just glide starry-eyed. Once I get you up there, I'll be holding you so near. You may hear the angels cheer because we're together.
All right, Karen, good morning. Since you're sitting the closest to me, you are the closest to the controls here. I'm just going to ask you to keep this area nice and clear. Now, if anything personal of yours falls down, I want you to just leave it. Tap me on the shoulder. I'll reach down and grab it for you, okay?
Acapulco Bay is perfect for a flying honeymoon, they say. Come fly with me, let's fly away. Oh, come on and fly. Once I get you up there where the air is rarefied, we'll just glide.
Alrighty, folks. Aloha mai kako. O Brody ku'u'i noa e komo mai. Welcome aboard. My name is Brody. I do have an amazing experience for all of us today. Before we can get going, though, I just need to make sure that everyone on board was able to see that safety briefing video, and if they did, a thumbs up all around it. Great, we're legal. Folks, for your comfort, we do have some air conditioning vents. Now, above your head in the back are your vents, just above your heads there. To operate those, are real simple. You just twist that little O-ring. That'll open and close that vent for you, and then you can direct the airflow anywhere you need. I got two up front here and then one up top for you. Folks, I'm going to be extremely busy here. The air traffic control is cleared out of the Kahului airspace this morning. Once out of the airspace, though, I'll be back with you. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight.
Let's fly away. There's no combination of words I could put on the back of a postcard. No song that I could sing, but I can try for your heart. Our dreams, and they are made out of real things, like a shoebox of photographs and sepia tone loving. Love is the answer, at least, for most of the questions in my heart, like why we here and where do we go, and how come it's so hard. Not always easy, and sometimes life can be deceiving. I'll tell you one thing, it's always better when we're together. It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at the stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. I find a way. As I was saying, just before you left the room, before I assumed that you might not come around, as I was saying, just after I took my foot from my mouth and put it back on the ground. Well, I don't want to disappoint you, and I don't want to disappear from here, or now, or you. This is worth saving, 'cause the sum of us is more than us. If you add us up and subtract my lack of sleep, my mind feels crazy when all these thoughts come rushing. Should I be trusting them or only let them be? 'Cause I don't want to disappoint you.
Alrighty, folks, finally been cleared out of the Kahului airspace at this time. However, throughout the flight, I'll be pretty busy with aircraft separation with other tour pilots and military aircraft. So if I'm mid-sentence and I just stop talking, I do apologize. I'll be back with you as soon as I can after that brief conversation.
It's just a matter of time.
We're going to make our way right on up into this beautiful valley that we have in front of us, known as the Waihe'e Valley. Now, in Hawaiian, Waihe'e means slippery water. This valley gets its name because of how much water continuously flows through this valley, never allowing the rocks at the very bottom of the valley to dry out completely. So if anyone was trying to hike up through the Waihe'e Valley, they would have a difficult time with how slippery the terrain is. Folks, our first stop within the Waihe'e Valley is going to bring us to the Keyhole Waterfalls, just coming off the front right of the aircraft now. The Keyhole Waterfalls stand about 1,200 feet high, and they are rain-fed waterfalls. Since we got a lot of rain the past 2 days, they have finally turned on. So we're going to go ahead and sneak in here to the Keyhole and give you folks a closer look. I'll first keep them off to the left side of the aircraft. We'll go and bring them off to the right side here in just a moment. Folks, we're going to make our way a little further up into the Waihe'e Valley. Anything beyond the Keyhole that we're leaving behind is not accessible on foot, so the only way to see the very back of this beautiful valley of Waihe'e is by helicopter. You'll notice as we're making our way to the very back of the Waihe'e Valley, coming off the left here, we have these beautiful waterfalls coming out of the clouds. These waterfalls that we see off the left side of the aircraft are rain-fed waterfalls, and they are coming from the very top of the West Maui. However, the waterfalls we have directly to the front of us in the back of Waihe'e are not coming from the top of the West Maui mountain. They're actually being fed from a volcanic reservoir that sits deep within the mountain. So no matter what, 365 days a year, rain or shine, it will flow. These waterfalls are called the Wall of Tears. Now, the earlier Hawaiians called the West Maui Mountains Mauna Kaha'alave, Mountain of Holding Water. Folks, everyone doing okay so far? Alright, good. Throughout the flight this morning, I'm going to anticipate some bumps, but I don't want you to worry about those. Please think of them as Mother Nature blowing you kisses, and I'll take care of the rest from my seat as best as I can for you. You still picked one of the best times to fly, which is early in the morning. Our winds haven't picked up yet, but after this flight, things will drastically change here on Maui, so winds are definitely going to pick up. We're going to make a gradual descent here towards Moana, our ocean. And as we descend towards Moana, you might have to equalize the pressure in your ear. As we cross over some of these ridge lines, you'll notice that a few of them have been flattened out. And what we're flying over right now are the old pineapple fields of North Shore Maui. Now, of course, we no longer grow pineapple on this side of the island. That operation has all been moved over towards the Central Valley and up near the historical town of Makawao. Now, if you're not too familiar with pineapple, it is a bromeliad and a beautiful flower when it blooms. And it does take 2 to 2.5 years for a pineapple to reach maturity before it's picked. Folks, as we leave the beautiful coastline of Maui behind, we'll be crossing over the Pailolo Channel here for the next 6 miles as we make our way towards the island of Molokai'i. I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce myself a little bit better. Again, my name is Brody, and I'm originally from the beautiful Garden Isle of Kauai. I do live on that island full time, and I am of Hawaiian descent. My mother, Kamomi Aloha Okalani, Iliva'alani Anakalea, a beautiful Polynesian born and raised on the island of Oahu. Her mother, of pure Hawaiian descent, born and raised on the forbidden island of Ni'iau, and a direct descendant of King Kaumo'ali'i, the former king of Kauai. Now, with my grandmother being a direct descendant of King Kaumo'ali'i, what does that make me? Pretty much a tour pilot in Hawaii. I'm pretty happy about that. Folks, I know you don't have any microphones, but I'm going to do my very best today to make sure that I answer all the questions that you might possibly have for me. I've been doing this flying tours in the state of Hawaii for almost 11 years now, and I've been asked pretty much anything you can think of, including some questions that are a little bit on the silly side, so I'm going to get those out of the way, just in case you were going to ask them. Yes, the ocean goes all the way around the island, and it is the Pacific on the other side, as it is here. And believe it or not, the state of Hawaii is part of the United States. Now, these are actual questions, I kid you not, and they've been asked by grown adults. It makes me laugh. It makes my day go by pretty quickly. The beautiful island of Molokai'i is the 5th largest of the Hawaiian islands, 240 square miles, 38 miles long and 10 miles wide. Current population of Molokai'i today is a little over 7,000, and the number one industry that we have on the island is cattle. Here you're not going to find any large resorts. What you will find, though, are some of the most friendliest people you ever meet in the world. And Molokai'i is also home to the highest percentage of pure Hawaiians living in the state of Hawaii, which is becoming increasingly rare to find.
Wahine ilikea hika poli o Molokai'i no kahike. Nani wale no na wailele uka o ina o haha o mo'oloa.
The ranchland that we have directly to the front of us is Murphy's Ranch, one of the largest privately owned cattle ranches on the island, which covers about 13,000 acres. The early Hawaiians called this hillside Pu'u'ohoku, meaning hill of the stars.
Wahine ilikea hika poli o Molokai'i no kahike. Nani wale no ka aina halawa o me.
The valley we have coming off our right shoulder is Halawa Valley. This actually marks the end of the road for the north shore of Molokai'i. There are no roads or trails to circumnavigate this island because of the tall sea cliffs you and I will have the opportunity of seeing in just a little bit. Halawa Valley is one of the most visited locations that we have on the island, because towards the very back of Halawa are some beautiful waterfalls that you and I can hike to. It takes about an hour to an hour and a half to hike to these falls, and I can promise you it's worth every step along the way. Now, just coming off the left shoulder first, the beautiful Oa'ula Falls of Halawa. Wahine ilikea hika poli o Molokai'i no kahike. Folks, we're going to leave the back of Halawa Valley behind us and now make our way to the north shore of Molokai'i. Climbing up from the ocean to 4,000 feet, claiming the title of the tallest sea cliffs on the planet. As we cross over this ridgeline in front of us, I now welcome you to what I consider the star of the show, the beautiful and majestic North Shore cliffs of Molokai'i. Enjoy. This beautiful waterfall that we have to the very back of this valley is Papala'ua Falls, one of the tallest waterfalls in the state of Hawaii at 1,749. We're going to make a few turns here at Papala'ua for you, so have your phones ready. The valley just coming off the front left of the aircraft is Wailau Valley, the largest of all the valleys on Molokai'i. And we're going to see more of Wailau here in just a little bit. We can camp within Wailau legally. However, the only way for us to get to Wailau is by boat or helicopter. And during this time of year, helicopter is really the only way in. As we look out in front of us there, that peninsula out into the distance is Kalupapa. Now, Kalupapa has a very dark history to it. Many years ago, Kalupapa was used as a quarantine location for those who had contracted leprosy. Now, it was against the law many years ago for anyone to have contracted leprosy, and if you did, you were hunted down, arrested, thrown aboard a ship, sailed here to Kalupapa, and in the earlier times, you were just thrown off the ship. Now, it didn't matter if you were 80 years old or 8 months old. You were treated exactly the same. As the time went on, things got a lot more humane. In fact, an entire village was built here at Kalupapa and medical center to help those who did contract leprosy. Unfortunately, this remained a quarantine location all the way up to 1969. Folks, we're going to make a right turn here. I'm going to give everyone one more incredible view of the North Shore cliffs of Molokai'i. As I level us off for the right side of the aircraft first, here are your final views of the beautiful cliffs of Molokai'i. I'll bring this around to the front and left-hand side, and as we depart the North Shore of Molokai'i for all of its beauty, I offer mahalo nui loa, aloha aina. Folks, we're going to enter into this valley in front of us, which is known as Pelekunu Valley, and we'll get a few bumps here and there. As we enter into the valley of Pelekunu, you'll notice towards the very base of this valley and about halfway up the valley wall are this lighter colored tree. Now this is the kukui nut tree, which is the state tree of Hawaii and was introduced to the Hawaiian Islands by the very first Polynesians when they arrived as one of the 27 canoe plants that they brought with them. Now, the nut that grows on this tree, the kukui nut, contains so much oil that they could string these nuts together and they would light them, and individually they would burn for several minutes. Now, the name kukui means light. Leaving the back of Pelekunu Valley, we now enter into the back of Wailau Valley. Remember, I mentioned Wailau is the largest of all the valleys here on Molokai'i. Every one of these valleys is known as an ahupua'a, self-containing ecosystem, providing everything for those who live within them. From the freshwater falls that comes off the backs of these valleys for drinking and also to irrigate their crops, known as taro, and to the land that gave them the resources that was needed to build their homes, and of course to the ocean, supplying them with an abundance of fish. Together the Hawaiian po'e would have worked these lands, and together they did much more than just survive. remember I had mentioned that you can camp within Wailau legally. However, we do have people who actually choose to live in Wailau full time, keeping in mind there is no electricity, and the only source of running water is going to be the river beneath us. Folks, welcome to the beautiful southern shoreline of Molokai'i and home to one of the most gorgeous reefs that we have in the state of Hawaii, if not on the planet. As we get away from the reef area here, it's just moving out for us a little bit.
Henani kano hona pilikai Lauele kamana o ike au moi Ia ika ula leo kikai Ka ia ve ka hauku aloha E ho o mali e maune Aloha aloha no Aloha kahali ali amau Henani no Henani kano hona pilikai He pilikana kamalulu ni Hey mai ana me ka pohu e hue Aherehi ho I kohi I kuae E kahi ko maune Aloha aloha no Aloha kahali ali amau
Folks, the island of Molokai'i was one of the very first locations to be inhabited by the very first Polynesians who arrived to the Hawaiian Islands between 0 and 600 AD. They were known as the Marquesans from the Marquesas Islands that sit just shy of 3,000 miles south-southwest of the Hawaiian Islands. For the Marquesans to have reached the Hawaiian Islands, they would have traveled the vast Pacific waters in Va'aka'olua, which are double-hulled outrigger voyaging canoes. Some of these voyaging canoes would have reached a length of 150 feet and could carry more than 100 people and supplies. This was not a one-way trip for them. They had masters sailing back and forth from Hawaii to the southern Polynesian islands, making the earlier Polynesians the masters of open ocean navigation. The Hawaiian Islands was not their first discovery. This is actually their final curtain call. You see, they left Southeast Asia and discovering southern Polynesian islands around 1500 BC. Over on the island of Oahu, we do have a voyaging vessel known as the Hokalea. In Hawaiian, Hokalea means Star of Joy. and it has successfully sailed around the world a couple times under the watchful eye of Captain Nainona Thompson, Master Wayfinder. Now, if you go aboard the Hokulea, one thing you will not find, or a few things you're not going to find, is a compass, GPS, or even navigational chart. Everything was done strictly through wayfinding, utilizing their hands and knowledge of the stars, the sun, and the moon. Folks, I know it was a little bumpy in those valleys back there. Everyone doing okay? Okay, good. The West Maui's is kind of a different story. When we get close to the West Maui's here, I'm already looking offshore there, and I can see the ocean ripples from the wind that's coming through the valley. So to get a little bit closer here, I might make a decision to follow the coastline this way, just for comfort-wise. The aircraft can handle pretty high turbulence. It's the guests that have a tendency not to handle the turbulence. It can get a little scary for people who aren't familiar with it. So as we get a little bit closer here to the west coastline of Maui, I'll make a decision as we get a little bit closer here which direction we'll go. In the meantime, coming off our right side of the aircraft here, the island that we have in the distance is Lanai, which is privately owned by Larry Ellison and home to about 3,000 people. So pretty much everyone knows everyone on that island. Lanai is known as the Pineapple Island. Just many years ago, the Dole Company used to have a pineapple plantation there, and although we no longer grow pineapple on Lanai, the name stuck, the nickname stuck. So every island in the chain, or the 8 major Hawaiian islands, is going to have its own nickname, such as my home island of Kauai is the Garden Isle. Oahu is known as the Gathering Place, and then you have Molokai'i, which is the Friendly Isle. Hawaii Island is known as the Big Island, and of course your home away from home here, the beautiful Valley Isle of Maui. Folks, I was just talking to another pilot that was ahead of me. He's already started another round, and he did say, he mentioned to avoid the West Maui's. Right now, they've got about a 55 to 60 knot headwind that's cutting through that. So what happens is, as you come in, it increases that wind speed because the valleys are pretty narrow. So it works with like a Venturi tube. So as air goes through that, it gets really narrow. It picks up speed to get through those narrow valleys, which can make it pretty bad. So what we'll do is we're going to come out here towards the western coastline. We'll make a couple turns here offshore for Lahaina, and then we're going to make our way along the coastline here, and we're going to avoid all that turbulence on this side of the island. As we approach the shoreline of Maui here, this is our western coastline. It's one of the most arid sides of the island that we have, receiving about 25 to 35 inches of rain a year, and that's pretty much about it. Always finding itself under the beautiful blue skies of the Pacific. Yesterday was like the first time in months that I even saw it rain out here on this western shoreline for a long time. Of course, just in front of us here, we do have the historical whaling town of Lahaina. Back in the day when this was a whaling town, it was pretty lawless for a while until the missionaries actually were able to control all the drinking and the bad stuff that was going on here. Lahaina is also the very first royal capital for us here in Hawaii. In fact, King Kamehameha the Great resided here in Lahaina for about 2.5 to 3 years and actually ordered the very first palace to be constructed here in Lahaina. It wasn't much of a palace. It was a 2-story brick-walled building with a grass thatch roof to it. I'm going to make a left turn here, and I'll bring Lahaina off to the right side. The royal capital was actually moved over towards the island of Oahu, and folks, that's where we have the only palace in the United States, which is the Iolani Palace. And if you haven't had the opportunity to go to Oahu yet, or if you have been, you plan on going back in the future, you definitely want to stop off and visit the Iolani Palace. It's absolutely gorgeous. Actually had electricity before the White House did. So folks, I think what I'm going to do is, we're just not going to head in towards the West Maui, but we're going to go ahead and make our way around. And I do know we're going to get into a pretty good headwind when we come around the corner back towards the airport. But I think if we stay offshore here a little bit, we'll avoid a lot of that pretty bad turbulence that's coming through the valleys right now. As far as we can see along this coastline, even behind us, as far as we can see, it was all sugarcane at one time. And sugarcane takes a lot of water to produce. In fact, 500,000 gallons of water to produce 1 ton of sugar. So in an area that only receives about 25 to 35 inches of rain a year, where did we get the water to grow sugar? From the West Maui. So at the very top of the West Maui, we do receive about 400 inches of rain a year, making that one of the rainiest spots on the planet. The valley that we have just coming off the left of the aircraft is known as Lanio Koko. And again, another major source of water for this western coastline of the island. A lot of whale activity out here today. That's why you see a lot of these boats kind of hanging around. Just to the front of us, we got some whales that are pretty active. I do have a whale just coming off the right of the aircraft. You can see under the water here. I'll make a little bank. There he goes. Just came up and took a breath. When the water is not disturbed, it's pretty easy to find them, especially the tops of their fins are white. Well, with the females, we have another one just coming off here. So I can't fly directly over these boats for legal reasons, but what I can do is I'll bring aircraft around here, and then we can get a pretty good view of what they're looking at. What you're seeing right there to the left is a heat run. It's pretty rare to be able to see it. This is a mating ritual for the humpback. So the female is in the lead. I can see her under the water just because I've been doing this for a while. She's way out in front. And behind her are a bunch of males. Typically she'll have a male escort that'll stay just to the side of her. And he's going to try to fend off the other male whales that are trying to keep up. Extremely dangerous. This is a very dangerous thing. So basically, the male that's just to her back left, you can tell that's the female because she's like 3 times bigger than the other whales. So the male just behind her, he's going to be the escort, and as the other males come up, what that male escort does is take his tail and slaps the head of the other whales to try to get them to move away. It's very dangerous because we do lose a lot of whales because of this ritual. What happens is they get so injured that they eventually will just die. So the humpbacks do come to the Hawaiian Islands for 2 reasons. One, that is to give birth, and 2, for mating. And it's not a guarantee that they stay here throughout or come here every year. We're going to make a right turn, bring this around, get Craig a view of this.
The dream that you did to why, oh why can't
This ritual will actually go on until the female is exhausted, and if there's anyone left, well, that's the winner. So. But Craig, if you look just in front of that white boat there, you can see the whales. Looks like they've kind of slowed down a little bit here, but they're just under the water line. Guys, we'll go ahead and make our way along the shoreline here. We might get a few little bumps as we pass in front of this other valley known as Ukamehame. Ukamehame is the worst when it comes to the wind, but it is my favorite valley, so I'm going to try to keep it a little further offshore. I'm already looking at the water here, and I can see the wind as it hits the water. If you look out, you can see what I'm looking at. You have like a nice calm little area, and then it ripples pretty good, and that's a really good indication that the winds are coming right off. I've seen waves come in towards the shoreline, and they've been really little, and the spray goes straight up in the air for about 20 feet. It's a small little wave. It doesn't even break. That's because the winds that come out of Ukamehame. The valley to our left there is Oluwalu, and then the next valley is Ukamehame. And you see that back wall in the back of Oluwalu. If you were to cross over that, that is the Iao Valley. folks, as we approach these windmills here, this is known as McGregor Point. I'm going to be a little busy with air traffic control to get us permission back into the Kahului airspace, and they're already reporting about a 50-knot headwind as we come around the corner. So we may feel that a little bit as we come around, but typically when we come around the corner, winds that high, it's at least consistent, so it'll be smooth, just a really slow go from here on in. But I'll be back with you in a sec.
Pass me a beer, and I'ma keep playing this music that you hear. And if you know the song, you come and sing along with me. Walking with the beat to my left, beat to my right, and I'ma get faded at the tiki bar tonight. Then I'ma rolling up like my name is Bob. Yeah, I'm gonna party like I'm a Jamaican. If you really wanna know where you can find me, I'll be unwinding down in the islands, just lose track of your timing. Grab a drink beside me. Down in the islands.
Folks, as our time with one another is coming to a close, I do want to take this opportunity and thank you guys for flying with us at Air Maui. It has been more than our pleasure to show you around, and we truly hope that everyone on board was able to enjoy your flight with us today. On behalf of our incredibly hardworking ground staff, office staff, mechanics, and everyone else that it takes to get one helicopter off the ground, mahalo nui loa from all of them to you. Please do us a favor, if you have the opportunity to visit one of your favorite travel websites, we'd love for you to leave us a review and let us know how we did. We'd greatly appreciate that. Again, you are flying with Air Maui, and my name is Brody. Folks, if you did not enjoy your flight, I apologize. Truly wish there was more I could have done for you. And in that case, my name is Richie, and I'm the Director of Operations for Air Maui.
Down in the islands, just lose track of your timing. Grab a drink beside me. Down in the islands.
I'll just give you an idea of the headwind we're pushing right now. Right now, with the power setting I got, I should be cruising about 125 knots, so close to 135 miles an hour, but I can only get about 100 knots. So that's how much headwind we got going right now. So a slow go back to the airport, guys. If we look up at the golf course that we have here to the left, you'll see that pink building at the very back. That. One moment.
I'll be unwinding down in the islands, just lose track of your time.
Sorry about that, folks. Still busy with the tower. But that pink clubhouse that we see up on that hill is actually Marilyn Monroe's former home that she had built. Unfortunately, she was not able to stay the night in that place before she died.
Unwinding down in the islands, just lose track of your timing. Grab a drink beside me. Down in the islands, islands.
So this is going to be our Central Valley. It's only 8 miles from shoreline to shoreline here, so the most narrowest point of the island of Maui, but this is our main agricultural area, and at one time all sugarcane. What we're growing out here now is a lot of citrus plants and coffee.
Naturally, time told you, and you told me, nothing gonna get us down. Can't you see? I said, if it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. No, 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 no. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. People all around making sounds and all kinds of noise. If I could only get there, then I could enjoy. Who they're trying to be, who they're trying to fool. Let's change the mood right now. Turn down the lights, it's time to cool it down. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. Yesterday and what we could be, it don't matter. Getting more.
Alrighty, folks, the tower is actually cleared us for landing, so upon landing, I'm going to ask you to stay on board the aircraft until the amazing Maui ground crew has the opportunity to approach and assist you out. Once out of the aircraft, they're going to direct you on where to go on the ramp, and then from there, they'll escort you back into the main lobby as a group. Truly hope you enjoy the rest of your stay with us on this beautiful valley island, Maui. Please come back and see us again when Maui calls to you. Mahalo, aloha, ahui ho. Till we meet again.
No, 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 no. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. I said, if it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. No, 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 no. If it don't matter to you, it don't matter to me. Sometimes it don't matter to me. Don't matter to me.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back.